All right, so you wanted to be a mage in Enshrouded, and honestly, this was one of the first times that I've actually dove full into a battle mage style build. And if you've watched my beginner guide recently and kind of took my advice, you probably are jumping in and respecking and trying something new. If you played a mage before Update 8, you would kind of know how things go. Now, things have changed dramatically. And I wanted to give an updated build guide on how to play as a battle mage in Enshrouded. It's simple, it's straight to the point, and it's actually a lot of fun. So make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Enshrouded content. All right, so the major changes that happened for mages. So I look at this as a battle mage as well as a wizard. Now, those are the two specific spec trees that are a part of Enshrouded, but there are some nuances between the two. So the first major thing that happened is mana regeneration. It was reworked. The old system was pretty generous, and honestly, like, it never really felt like there was a whole lot of mana issues. Even as a full melee bruiser, like, I regenerated mana very quickly. It didn't feel punishing. Now it is something that has to be managed. It can't just be necessarily spammed, but luckily there's like skills and food buffs that will make it a lot more manageable. And it just takes time in the correct skill trees. Second, the focus system and the special abilities. Every single weapon type except for staffs got a special ability, and these are essentially you build focus. As long as you have the appropriate weapon mastery in the spec tree, you will build focus by landing regular attacks, and then you can use your special attack, which deals a lot more damage, has a cool effect. For wands, this was amazing, and the effects, the special attack is very good. For staves, you don't have anything. We're still waiting. And the major big one that I like to talk about is the soaked debuff plus the Gem of Currents. Now, this is one that it took me a bit to understand, but there's a new gem that applies the soaked debuff, which came along with the Wake of Water, the update previous to Forging the Path, which allows you to soak enemies. And if you build around that concept, your crit chance and crit damage can skyrocket against those soaked targets. It sounds like you got to jump through a whole bunch of hoops and ladders. It really is not that difficult. It's actually very straightforward, and I'll show you. All right, so what kind of mage do you want to be? So you really have two different choices, and that's between either wands or staffs. Honestly, I always say go with the wand. I mean, the staff has a lot of good damage and has a lot of really cool effects, but the wand is just so versatile, and really what makes it great is wands have the special abilities, staves don't have anything yet. So you have something else other to cast rather than just whacking away and throwing your heat seeker missiles. Now, that's also the other advantage, is that they're faster casting, you're a lot more mobile, the build focus is like very agile, like you're able to have a lot more survivability. And it's also better if you just want simple, playthrough. Like it makes combat a heck of a lot easier. You just go in, you start waving your wand around, and then you're good to go. And then it also doesn't really cost anything to cast. Your wand does kind of break pretty quickly if you use it frequently, so that's something to keep in mind. But for the most part, it's very efficient. Like you don't have to worry really about the mana. Now, the staff is good with some other things. So the major thing is that it does a lot of AoE damage. It can also fire at max range, so huge damage, huge range. It can also heal if you have that set up, so that works with some co-op utility right there. But the problem is that if you're playing solo, the staff doesn't necessarily have any kind of defenses built into it. It doesn't have the mobility. So you can get interrupted by enemies, and your mana does drain faster. And then again, you're kind of like standing still, which honestly, in this game, if you stand still, a lot of enemies can hit you and stun you, and it's not good. And especially if you only have short amounts of little time to play, like that's kind of the idea, is like you're probably gonna die. Wands just overall have a lot more capability if you're a solo player and if you got a limited amount of time. It's more consistent and it's more fun, truth be told. Now, if you're playing co-op and you're playing with a friend, staff might work out a lot better, but you'll need like some kind of meat shield in front of you, whether it's, like a melee enjoyer or even like a thief rogue type player, assassin type player. All right, so the skill tree is very simple. So the early game focus is going to be, first off, with I'm talking about like the first 15 skill points, we'll say, I want you to focus on getting double jump. Double jump is always, to me, every build has to have double jump. It makes everything else in this game a heck of a lot easier. You're going to be picking up any intelligence nodes that are in the healer or the battle mage paths. Intelligence is your primary stat, so it's very, very important. But your focus is going to be getting to wand specialization. This is under the battle mage tree. That allows you to use your focus ability and your ultimate, so to speak. And it deals a lot of damage, and yeah, everything just works. I also like to get the blink ability early on because this is your essential escape button. Like, you can also spec it out so that you can use it while you're stunned, which is really, really good, but it turns your dodge roll into a short range teleport. Really, really good, really, really important. So after that, a couple of the points that I like to go for is going to be specifically down the wizard tree and going for the all shock damage, which is under thunder, which is kind of down the tree a little bit. But you pick up abilities like wizard, which does a lot of extra damage, or it adds critical strike chance to your attacks, as well as picking up other nodes like intelligence along the way, and then mage apprentice. It ends up working very well. And then also making sure that your wand does shock damage, because this really helps out once you pick up the mass destruction ability, which allows you to deal shock damage to all nearby enemies. This is your clearing method, but you'll pick that up in a minute. Also going down the trickster route to focus on terror, where critical strikes with spells has a 15% chance to stun enemies. You'll be critically hitting enemies quite frequently, so it's very, very important to have. And then your late game, you're definitely picking up mass destruction as well as exalted. Exalted is down under the battle mage tree line. This is going to give you 1 point of intelligence for every 2 levels of your flame. So it can easily increase your overall damage by 15 to 20% as you get into late game, even higher than that. And then we're also going to pick up other abilities like Arcane Proliferation. We're going to pick up Life Essences. Honestly, I even went down the route to pick up Necromancer and Water Aura. You'll have a lot more points than you really need to mess with, but that should be the center of your damage. And then, of course, going the other way, also picking up Desert Stomach, which is under the Survivor Tree. Never slack on the Survivor Tree. It makes it so much easier. You get extra food buff. It's great. The gear is pretty straightforward. Really, any of the Alchemist crafted mage armor as you are leveling up. Look for the ones that are increasing the wand damage, because they do technically offer both the staff and wand capable builds. So aiming for the ones that have for the wands, or if you're using staff, use the obviously the gear for the staff. Specific pieces that work really well. First, the Circlet of Lightning, which is available in the Drakdal camp, which is located here. Now this is it adds a crit chance versus soaked enemies, which is critically important. And again, going with the gem that I was talking about, Gem of Currents, very, very important to get. Ring of Ancients is also very, very good as a choice, because it just gives you a bunch of flat increases. So Mage Apprentice, it gives you the Well-Rested plus critical strike chance. It's just good all around. And then, of course, upgrading armor. You upgrade all the armor with the runes. I mean, you just can't beat it. There's a bunch that really make like a massive notable improvement, so just make sure that you're upgrading those, as well as the Gem of Currents. Now this gem is the one that specifically applies soaked enemies take more crit damage, and you get this from the Vale Water Basin, the Drakthal, the lizard guys running around. It's literally a damage multiplier. It makes this build like completely pop. So the combat and the rotation is straightforward. Oh my god, all you do is just wand attack. It's to build the focus, and then you use a special ability, bing bang boom. You dodge out of the way when you need to, reposition. I mean, like, there's all sorts of just really good things that you can do just at a distance and not necessarily get caught. You don't even have to worry about AoE, because you're hitting that mass destruction. You're shocking all nearby enemies that are around your target, which deals a lot more damage, and it really makes a big deal. Now, I will say, as a caveat for the wands break a lot easier and a lot faster than other weapons that I've experienced. So just keep that in mind. You might have to jump back and forth, or you might have to carry an extra set of wands with you to be able to sustain it, or just be able to repair on the go. That's the major thing, just because the wands break so damn easily. And it's like, after that, it's like you're by yourself. So make sure you're able to keep those repaired and keep those going. So yeah, that's your Battle Mage build for Update 8, and honestly, it's really a good time, and it's a hell of a lot easier than any of the Melee Enjoyer builds that I've been doing in the past. And if this gets updated for 1.0 or as things change, I'll make another video and I'll talk about this build because this is definitely a keeper. This is definitely one that I like. If you saw this and this is making you interested in Enshrouded, you can click this video here for the 2026 beginner guide for Update 8 of Enshrouded. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.